Hello and welcome back to ESC Fan TV. I hope you're all doing well and I hope you're all ready for a new show. Now I know it was supposed to be Elliot hosting this week, but unfortunately something is wrong with his internet and he couldn't be there. Hopefully he will join us later. We're hoping for the best and we're wishing his internet the best of luck. But we do have a lot of things to go through today, so let's just get started. First of all, let me introduce you to the panel for today. We, of course, have Tristan.
Hello there. Nice to be back.
Hello. Have you had a good week?
Yeah, very good. I've actually been in Lille, in the north of France, for the last few days. So enjoying the wine and the sunshine.
That sounds very lovely. And as always, we have Aline.
Hi.
I can tell you're ready to talk about a certain country today.
Yes, I am.
It's going to be great. And joining us for the first time in these Junior Eurovision shows, we have Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello there, Nicholas. Thank you for letting me have an opportunity to speak to you all this evening.
It is lovely to have you here. Are you excited for the Junior Eurovision this year?
I am, actually. I've seen quite a few conversations and chats about who different favourites are. There's a lot of songs that would be very worthy winners this year, and both me and yourself will actually be in Poland to witness that.
Yes, can't wait to see you there. Now, let us just get started. Like I said, we have a packed program because, as you all know, we are already at the point where we have all the songs that are going to be competing this year. Now, let us first start with a country that is, a little bit of a newcomer to this contest and to the whole of Eurovision. We are going to Australia. Now, Australia is once again participating in Junior Eurovision. They have been in this contest since 2015. As you all know, Australia was invited as a special guest to the Eurovision Song Contest, but they did so well that they got to participate in Junior as well. Jordan Anthony is the name of the singer that will be representing Australia, and his song is called We Will Rise. Aline, are you excited to see Australia this year?
Well, I have to say, last year's champion was one of my absolute favorites in the whole contest of 2018. So the bar was set very high for Australia this year. And when they decided to send a boy to Junior Eurovision, I was like, okay, that's the first time sending a boy, so I'm interested and I'm okay. So let's wait for the song. But despite having the song, and the song has the necessary quality and the necessary message and will do well in Junior Eurovision, I'm actually a bit underwhelmed by it because I miss a bit the power that Champion had last year. So it's a good song, but it's not amazing for me.
Interesting. Like you mentioned, it is the first time that Australia is sending a boy. Ben, do you think that this is a strong thing for them? Because we don't see that many boys in Junior Eurovision that often. So do you think this will be an advantage for them?
No, the issue of boys in Junior Eurovision is one that many of the boys in particular will have issues with. Their voices will break somewhere between the age of 9 to 14 years old, and we have witnessed that on the Junior Eurovision stage before. I think I understand that Aline's point exactly there about power in the song. I expect this will be one of those that shines in the live performance. You'll get the extra oomph, which also is very typical of Australian entries, both in Junior, but also the main Eurovision Song Contest. The live performers really do give it extra. I think, as always, Australia's a professional act here, and I hope in particular that sound from Jordan's got to be big enough, because it's going to be his huge gospel style backing in this song, and if he delivers a powerful vocal above that, it will be something successful for the Junior Eurovision.
It could be very good. It's worth noting that he has previously been on The Voice of Australia. He's actually the youngest person to ever participate in The Voice, the adult voice. I think all over the world, that is, because many countries have a junior version of The Voice. Now, Tristan, was this the kind of song you were hoping for from Australia, or were you hoping for something more?
I mean, after the last 2 years, where Australia came third with Isabella and Jael, and there's no way that this is going to beat that. It's a nice song. It's quite a good song, but I really don't warm to his voice. It's sometimes a bit squeaky. It's sometimes a bit like a balloon letting out air. I mean, it's not really my kind of thing, and I wasn't expecting to like it because I'd heard quite a lot of the stuff he'd done earlier on YouTube. Um, it's obviously going to do better than you'd expect because it's Australia and it's a very neutral country as far as a lot of the others are concerned, and the juries will like it. But I'm afraid for me, it's the worst Australian song to date. It's a good song, but it's a singer for me that it's just not my cup of tea.
Interesting. I think for me, this song, while it's not one of my absolute favorites, I do think it's a nice and decent song. I will agree, and a lot of people have said this. Australia is very good at sending these very safe entries, and I think this is very much a safe entry. I think what we saw with Kate Miller-Heidke in the Eurovision in Tel Aviv was Australia doing something different, and it is a big country with a lot of possibility. And I'm sure there are many kids who would love to go to Junior Eurovision and really show off something. So I think they could have done more, but at the same time, I think that he has had some form of involvement with the song. I don't remember for sure, but I think he has. So it is the kind of song that he would like to sing, and I think that means a lot for him. I do quickly want to touch on, because there is another country as well that we're going to talk about after this, which is Kazakhstan. These two countries are not exactly part of Europe. Kazakhstan is a little more in Europe than Australia is, because Australia is definitely not. But these countries have been invited, especially like the steering group has approved that these countries can participate. I just quickly want to take like around the panel here. What do we think about Australia and Kazakhstan participating? Do we think it's a good or a bad idea? I'm going to start with Ben.
Okay. With regards to Junior Eurovision specifically, my understanding, if I remember correctly, is Australia came into Junior Eurovision and were invited by the then executive supervisor, Mr. Yakolev, after they first took part in Vienna.
Yeah.
And I would interpret it as, especially then, Australia was on a year-by-year basis getting into the Eurovision Song Contest, and to enter Junior Eurovision was something seen to, they had to do the right thing and had to take part in this. And also, as a broadcaster, PBS were really, really excited to actually get a chance to take part in this. Being part of Eurovision was a really big deal for them. And that's always great to see a broadcaster want to do that. And I still believe that's the main driving force, really. It's a pleasure for Australian television to get the chance to come over to do Eurovision. With regards to Kazakhstan, it's very interesting. It's more interesting from a geopolitical point of view, actually. I think we've seen both this year and last year with Kazakhstan the amount of effort that has gone into producing their Junior Eurovision numbers. And there's other indications from Kazakhstan that are shifting towards trying to become part of a Europe in that sense. My personal viewpoint is it's a pleasure to see both of these countries taking part. And it does add something different. What it means for long-term strategy for the contest is a different question.
Interesting. Aline, what do you think of the topic?
I can relate to what Ben said. I've never thought about Australia being part of Eurovision, but when they got introduced, or when they got into Eurovision, into the participation of Eurovision, I was actually very looking forward to it. I think I have just an easy mind that adapts very quickly to new things. So I was very looking forward to Australia being part of Eurovision because I just expected them to be another powerhouse and to bring quality every single year, and they're doing that until now. So I'm a big fan of Australia in Eurovision, and they can stay as long as they want for me. Then going to Kazakhstan, I felt a bit weird when I first saw that Kazakhstan was debuting in Junior Eurovision, because I was like, I don't know this country at all, and I felt like a bit a distance with the country, and I didn't feel connected. So I was like, okay, I'm just waiting for them to show off and to show what they have, what they can bring in Junior Eurovision. I was a big fan of the song last year. So, and I think they made a very strong debut with it because they came sixth and they came third with the televoting. So that's a strong debut, I think. And I'm a very big fan of the song this year. So I think it's just a very mysterious country that brings another atmosphere into Eurovision. And I just can't wait to see them entering the big competition, to be honest.
The mysterious Kazakhstan. And finally, Tristan, your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that Kazakhstan enters the main Eurovision. They've got some fantastic music. I mean, if you go onto YouTube, type in people like Keshu, it's great power pop. It's great stuff. And also Kazakhstan, let's not forget, actually has a part of its country geographically in the continent of Europe. Not that that is a matter; it's all part of the EBU. But I'm really hoping that at some point the EBU will relax the rules and allow them in either as a guest, like they did with Australia, because they have been. I mean, their national final for Eurovision, for the Junior Eurovision last year was absolutely outstanding. It was as good as most adult national finals from other countries. It was a fantastic show. Shame they didn't do a national final this year, but they have chosen a cracking song. So they're trying the internal way, they're trying the other way, they're trying everything. They're doing exactly what all the other countries do. They deserve to be in it, as do hopefully more countries. The more the better. And as we've seen in the adult Eurovision, some countries are dropping out. So maybe time to replace them with Kazakhstan and some others.
Maybe. I think there's a point that both of these countries are eager to be in the contest. And I think for me, any day, I would much rather have countries that are eager to be in the contest, really take it serious and want to send something great, rather than countries who are just participating just to do it. So I think having Kazakhstan in junior is a great way to kind of get them used to how it all works, get them into this contest. And I think down the line we will see them at Eurovision. I think the EBU just needs to look at them from a broader perspective. And I think with Australia, I think we could also factor in the thing that it probably brings the EBU a good amount of money. I think Australia pays a good bit to participate, and I think that's very nice. But with that being said, it does have a big audience in Australia. It brings in a lot of viewers, which again looks good in, like, if you do the final calculations, it does look good for the EBU that Australia is in here. But of course, with both these countries, they can't host the show if they do end up winning. I don't think Kazakhstan would host Junior if they were to win this year. But it is an interesting concept. Of course, a couple of years ago, the rules were changed in the main Eurovision as well to allow these countries that aren't full members of EBU as long as the steering group approves them. But we've talked a lot about Kazakhstan as this mysterious country. Now let's talk about their song, because we are indeed going to Kazakhstan now. Kazakhstan, like there has already been mentioned, are on their second participation. They participated for the first time last year and did rather well. They came third with the televoting. This year they have chosen Yasan internally, and the song, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but it does mean something along the lines of "Don't waste your dreams." I'm just going to go straight to Aline, because I've heard you say a lot of positive about the song. What do you think?
Well, I fell in love with the song during the first listen, and it's even more growing to me. It's just cuteness overload. The whole video clip, the whole music video is just cuteness overload. And I just, when the song finished, it finishes in a very silent way. And I was like, I don't dare to say anything because I don't want to ruin the beauty of it. And I think it's just a mix of Disney, Frozen, with some Eastern European elements. And there is some instrument in it, and I don't know what it is, but it sounds so mysterious, and it makes the country even more mysterious. And the music video, I don't know why, but I have like a soft spot for video clips that are filmed in a city. So it really shows the beauty of a certain city, and I really want to go to Kazakhstan because of that video clip. Yes, I'm very positive about the song, and I just think that if that guy can sing that song in real, like he does in a video clip, I just hope he will get enough points, the points he deserves, because it's amazing, I think.
Yes. Ben, are you in love with mysterious Kazakhstan as well?
I feel I should go back to the first time I listened to the song as well. I was absolutely like dumbstruck by this song when I first heard it. It was absolutely incredible. Thank you for translating this title for me. I actually don't know if this works across borders, but I originally thought this was the Kazakh for kitchen sink, because everything was thrown at this. Yes, you have your Disney style stuff, but the build and the crescendos through this are ridiculous. And I mean that both in a positive way and in a negative way. This song is too much. And it shows exactly how much Kazakhstan is trying to take Junior Eurovision seriously. And I'm going to argue against Nicholas. I think Kazakhstan, if they did win, would do everything in their power to host. Whether they get permission, that's a different question, but there would be a will to host, similar to when Running Scared won in 2011. Azerbaijan put everything into hosting, and there's a similar kind of political element if Kazakhstan got that opportunity here. This song just keeps going. I think this is a huge risk for a song for such a singer. I like risks, but that's a risk. This will be the one rehearsal I want to see. What are they going to put on that stage? Can he do it? How overblown theatrical will it be? Is it great? Is it good? Yes, it is. It's many, many more superlatives than that. But it's so in your face, I don't know if it's got the right taste. It's going to jar opinion. And I like songs that do that, but it is, there's no hiding away from this in every respect, from the performer, from the listener. It's 3 minutes of boom.
And boom it is indeed. Tristan, do you think this song has what it takes to win this year?
It does. I mean, it's a fantastic song. It was my number two, but it is now my number three. He's just got such a strong voice, and I mean, if you compare, it just reminds me of like Pastora Soler in Quédate Conmigo. Like really, those really amazing long sort of notes. And he actually out Pastoras her. It's if it were adults only voting, I think this would win. It may not appeal so much to the children, the children voters as much. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being unfair there. The only problem I see, and I said this in our last show, is that it will the sort of like the pop opera vote will be split between Spain and Kazakhstan. So a lot of people who might vote for Spain might vote for, who would be choosing between one of those two. It's going to split that vote slightly because it's a sort of like a classical power ballad. So that is going to be a problem. That will take some of Yerzan's votes away. But it is fantastic, and I think it's just going to be so well. And he's so sort of small. It's going to be look so small on that big stage. He's just going to be, everyone's just going to say and vote for him. It's just going to be fantastic.
It's going to be lovely. Now, I'm just going to go to Ben quickly because you weren't here last time when we discussed Spain. So I just want to hear your thoughts on this whole, like, the votes between these two.
Okay. I think we've said a few times the word televote, and I think we need to remind ourselves it is an online vote. There is not a televote in Junior Eurovision anymore. And the online vote means you can vote for between 3 and 5 songs at a time. So there shouldn't be any splitting of the vote between Spain and Kazakhstan. If you like both of them, you can vote for both of them. I think a more realistic question is, will people in Poland, in Spain, and in France also vote for Kazakhstan? I could probably add the Netherlands in there as well. Those are the 4 countries I would suspect would have the biggest viewerships and therefore have the biggest supporters for their own countries. Will people who are in Spain voting for Spain? It's not showing the main channel, I believe, over there. So it's going to get potentially millions of people watching Junior Eurovision. will they vote for Spain, and then also Kazakhstan. You could win this by being second place in all these countries. But those countries are the key markets. Wales will have 25,000 viewers watching. The votes for Wales and from Wales are insignificant to those from Poland, France, and Spain.
It is interesting. I feel like we've had it on the show before, the whole talk about this online voting. I think, what we saw in 2017 was very different from what we saw last year. And I think this year is, again, one of those years where we really have to look at this online vote and be like, okay, how does this actually work? Because like someone mentioned on Twitter, I remember that from last year, Roxana had more followers on Instagram than she got votes, which is an interesting thing to think about. But I'm going to end the conversation there, because we could talk, like, all of these shows could just be about the online voting itself. Maybe we'll talk about it in a separate show one day. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But Tristan, do you have a quick point?
Yeah, in Australia, am I right in thinking they don't show the Junior Eurovision live?
Yes, that's correct. They broadcast it on
really
delay.
Unfair. That's really unfair then, as it's such an online vote. They're going to lose.
That's the reason why it's an online. That's part of the reason why it's online vote, so they can open the voting beforehand.
Right.
Yes, and I think the Australian broadcaster, they do promote, because that's another thing. Some of the broadcasters promote the online voting way more than others do, and obviously, if they put out on social media, hey, remember to vote, the voting is open now, a lot more people will go in and vote. Maybe even if they haven't heard all the songs, they would just be like, oh, I can support my country, click. So it is interesting, because like there's been mentioned here, if Kazakhstan and Spain do appeal to the same voters, does that mean that the people in Kazakhstan will also vote for Spain, and the people in Spain will also vote for Kazakhstan? Because if that's the case, which of them will come out on top? That's the big question. And of course, there's also the jury vote. But like we've seen in the past couple of years, the jury vote is less significant in junior because of the fact that they are very far away from each other. Now, before we get on to the next song, I want to just quickly touch on my opinions of Kazakhstan, because I haven't had time to do that so far. I think Kazakhstan is a nice song. I think it's a cute song, and the music video is definitely the best of the ones that we have this year. It's very well produced, and it's been mentioned on the show here. Kazakhstan is doing everything they can to show the EBU that they are 110% serious about this contest, so it makes a lot of sense. For me, it's not a contender to win, because it's too non-offensive, to the point where I feel like if you are picking out 5 songs to vote for, you're picking 5 songs that stands out for you. And for me, I can barely remember how this song sounds, and I've heard it a few times. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it's not a song that really sticks in your mind. That's my opinion. Now, who should we go to next? How about a country that recently came back to Junior Eurovision? Yes, let's go to Portugal. Portugal came back to Junior Eurovision back in 2017. They had a good run in the beginning of the contest, having participated in a few of the early years. But after their win in Kiev, they decided to come back to the junior and have some fun there. This year, Portugal is being represented by Joanna and the song Come With Me. It's another one of those Let's Save the Planet songs. We've talked about those on the show before. And I know, Tristan, you have your fair share of thoughts about all these climate change songs. What do you think of this one?
I mean, obviously, yes, it's another one. Obviously, it's a fantastic. It's a fantastic thing to get behind. But when the vast majority of the songs this year are about changing the planet, it can get a little bit tiring, which is why I think that a non-planety one might actually end up winning this year. The song itself, I mean, it's very, very dated. It's very 80s. It actually sounds like something that Stock Aitken Waterman would have written for Bananarama. Or if you listen to the music in the background, she's got a great voice for a 10-year-old. And I suppose for a 10-year-old, I mean, she wouldn't have even been born when Alexander Rybak won Eurovision. So probably for a 10-year-old, the 80s is probably what, for me, the 50s or 60s are like. So maybe, it's an interesting thought. So maybe it's but it just sounds just wrong. It's not up to date enough, and it's just going to sound too retro to a young audience, I think.
Interesting. Portugal have struggled a bit in the last couple of years since coming back. They were one of the very strong countries when they participated in the early zeros, but since coming back in 2017, they've had a fair share of bad luck. Aline, do you think this is the year where Portugal can finally shine?
I'm pleasantly surprised by Portugal's entry of this year. I think it's their 5th entry in the contest, and they've never been in the top 10 until now. So I hope this will be the change of Portugal. When I first listened to the song, I felt a bit weird because I wasn't familiar with the melody of the song and the rhythm of the song. I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird, and I have to get used to the voice combination with the melody behind it. But I like it, and the way they also use some English lyrics in the song, so that can also help them to get a better result, I think. So yeah, I think the entire song is good. Not a winner, but it's good enough for Portugal, and I hope that they will get their best result so far this year.
We're crossing our fingers for Portugal. Ben, is this the kind of song that you like?
No, it's not the kind of song I like. To put it bluntly, I think if you compare from Kazakhstan just before, the amount of effort musically, production-wise, that went into that in comparison to this it's a huge magnitude of difference between the two. This is far more simple, but a lot less effective. And it's actually even ineffective for the message it's trying to get across. No, there's many environmental songs this year. There is a trend, and it's a good trend to go on. However, musically and lyrically, the message is much weaker here than the other songs. I do a direct comparison in style with the Serbian entry, for example, and the Portuguese track is, about I'm going to do the right thing. Our Serbian one is let's actually do something different. It's got the right power of aggression, which fits 2019. Songs not every song is fit in a timeless way. Songs also have a message for the time they're in right now. Portugal, with its theme, is arguing to try and be in the theme right now, but it's far too passive for that. And I we have to rank these songs that are competing, and I hope this is not one of those in contention.
See, I really want Portugal to do well, because I do think it's nice to have them back, and it does seem like they're putting some kind of effort into this. What I just think is that the Portuguese music scene and the Portuguese broadcaster is they're just not in touch with what is actually popular. And I think in Eurovision it can be excused, because to some extent I think it's fun that we see Portugal take more chances and send something original. But the thing is, there are people behind that wanting to truly send something original. In Junior, Portugal often seems like they just pick, the first and best writer that they can find and just say, just make something. And it doesn't work. I really want Portugal to do well, but at the same time, this song sounds like a demo. It sounds like an unfinished demo, and that's the point that's really weak about the song. Because I think the message is not bad, and she can sing, and that's the thing with all three girls that we've had since Portugal returned, is that they are great singers. They are great performers. They can do this. But the thing is, the songs are just not there. And this is a competition. And, for Portugal to send something that just sounds unfinished, it just means that they will have trouble with both the jury and the online voting. So, yeah, I think like many people say that this will be down the bottom. And it's sad, because it probably does mean that we, somewhere down the line, we will stop seeing Portugal in this contest. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Let's move on. We're rapid firing through these songs today, but I think that is a good thing, because there are all these 19 songs, and we do want to get all of them through before we get to Gliwice. So why not go to France? France is another one of those countries that have decided to return. They took part once back in 2004 in Lillehammer, took a long break. We didn't think we would ever see them again, but here they are. They participated. They got back last year, and to probably their surprise, they did so well. Angelina, she came second, and now France is really in this game. I think they're in it to win it. And this year is no exception. This year they have sent Carla, who has been on The Voice Kids in French. She was a finalist on the last season. She is sending a song called Bim Bam Toi, which is a fun little bop. Aline, you're sitting there waving your little French flag. What do you think of this song?
I'm happy to have a second neighbor country back, because now as a Belgian, I have two countries to support. Also, I've missed the French language in the Junior Eurovision, because we haven't had a French song. The last French song before Angelina came back for France was in 2005. So we've had to miss the language for such a long time, and I'm so happy to have it back. And yes, France hasn't won the Eurovision Song Contest since 1977. So I'm very happy to see them back and in a competitive way, because I see that they are so ready to win Eurovision and Junior Eurovision. So yes, the song is very good. I really like the video clip as well. It's very colorful, and I hope that they will bring the colors on stage as well. If Carla sings very well, which I'm very confident about, it will be another contender for the win. And I hope France will take it this year, because they really deserve to win, I think, and it will give them even more power to do well in the adult Eurovision. They are already in a good way of doing well, but they can do even better after a win in this Junior Eurovision Song Contest.
Yes. Before we move on, I just want to say hi to Remy, our French viewer on the show. I hope you are enjoying the show, and I hope you're enjoying what we think about the French entry. Now, Ben, this is a fun, upbeat song. It's a bit different to some of the other songs, because obviously we've talked about like some big ballads and some strong songs. This is a fun, very much like kid-friendly, seems like something that a girl her age would like to listen to. Do you think that that's the song's strong point, or do you think it'll struggle because of that?
I'm cautious of this idea of people all of our age discussing what a kid-friendly song is. I'm actually going to have a piece out for ESC Insight in the run-up to Junior Eurovision about the misconceptions that we have. And actually, if you look at, there's not much data on exactly, if you can isolate, the catchment area, the 9 to 14-year-olds in this sense about what they like, but it usually doesn't match what we expect from that. However, more of this show is decided by adults than by kids, especially the jury vote. And the jury vote is interesting for this. The French song is an evolution of last year's song. And I would say musically, this is an improvement. This is very, very clever musically. Again, it's a rehearsal I want to see. I'll be very interested to know how it's done live. But I'm at the point here that the online vote means a music video, which is really good here, is far more important. I can see France's televote again being top 3. I think the juries should be placing this in a high position. I can't really say how high it is, because I think, again, similar to Kazakhstan, this is also a bit more about taste. Whereas, a well-produced building mid-tempo pop song like Australia gets uniform support. All of us here go, oh, yes, that's really nicely well done. Even if it's not our taste, we can appreciate, oh, it's well done. Whereas something like France Kazakhstan might be more divergent here. I think this is great. I hope it's performed well in something that really fits her. And I think the character that she plays is much easier to do in a video format than it is for a live 3 minutes. I'm going to be interested to see what they do. I know they brought some props last year. Will they do the same this year? France, they're in it to win it.
It's exciting to see how they will do this on stage. France is bringing, they've had a little press conference. They had that this week. They will have what I believe 4 dancers on stage. One of them, Albane, she was also on the stage last year. She was one of the dancers for Angelina. So it's exciting to see her back, and I'm sure with her experience from last year, you know, this is a great team, and it does, at least for me, it does elevate a performance when we have these dances. It makes it more fun and memorable. You know, when you see the recap, you're like, yeah, I remember that one. So I think that also does give it some advances. Tristan, do you think that this is the year of France? Do you think they can win it this year?
They certainly could win it. Our electro swing has not had a very great. Not done very well in national finals or in song contests over the years. I personally really like it. It's fantastic when you listen to it on headphones. Of all of the songs, it's the one that I most look forward to hearing when I listen to them in order. Is well in alphabetical order anyway, because it's just got that lovely bass sound. It's really dirty and deep. It's great. It's a good song. It's well constructed, and of course it's a nice Eurovision connection because I think she came fourth in The Voice in La Voix France, and she was mentored by Patrick Fiori, so another Corsica person. So a nice Eurovision connection there. I think it is great. I mean, I personally think it will do very well. Definitely should be top 10. It's my 8th place, and I probably will end up 6th or 7th.
Yes, I mean, I like this song. I think it's a fun and cute song. It has a lot going. It's very great produced, and that's the thing about Friends. You know, they are doing songs that you could imagine being played on a kids radio station or something like that. It does seem, you know, like a very much a Finnish song, and something that for them is not just about participating in Junior Eurovision, but also doing something that, you know, fans of The Voice Kids and Friends, or Carlos fans for that matter, will listen to. I hope they bring something fun to the stage, because if they do, I think this could be a contender once again. Also, you know, with France being a Western country, it's a little bit more easily accessible with the whole online voting. I had another point and I've forgotten it now, so that's why I keep talking so I can hopefully remember the point that I was trying to get across there, because it was something about. See, I don't remember now, and that's a shame. If I'll remember it, I'll come back to it. Let's just say it like that. But you know, I do wish France good luck, because it will be interesting to see them once more. See, now I've completely lost my trail of thought, because I keep thinking about what was that thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, now I remember. Cool, I got it.
That'd be good.
Yes. Now, we don't have Connor on today, so I'm going to have to be in charge of the obscure reference. This is because I keep thinking about this, and no one's going to get this unless we do have some Danish viewers on the show. Otherwise, no one's going to get it. There is a song, and it's like a children's song that came out, I think, well before my age even, called Bim Bam Busse. That's Busse. And this song, not only does it share, like, the first bit of the title is pretty much the same, it also almost shares the same beat. And I doubt that there is a French version of this song, which is what they've taken the inspiration from. But it just is fun for me that this song, which is called Bim Bam Toi, sounds a lot like a Danish children's song called Bim Bam Busse. That's just today's fun fact of the day. I wanted to mention, because I didn't know when else to get that out there. So,
but the important question is, which is better?
Oh, I think Bim Bam Toi is better. But that's because I'm not 5 years old anymore. I'm sure if you ask a 5-year-old, they'll have a different opinion. That doesn't matter. Let's quickly move on before this turns into our favorite nursery rhymes. Let us go to Malta. Malta is actually a pretty popular country in Junior Eurovision. They've done rather well ever since coming back in 2013. They've had 2 wins, first in 2013 and then in 2015. And they've been a strong country. They've been one to watch. They have been called the Sweden of Junior Eurovision. So it is always interesting to see what Malta's bring into the table. Eliana is the name of the singer that will be representing Malta this year, and she will be singing We Are More. I'm very sad that Elliot isn't here, because this is a bit like, the junior version of Michaela that we saw at the adult Eurovision this year, and I know Elliot was a big fan of that. But instead, I'm gonna start with Tristan. What do you think of Malta?
Well, I'm not a big fan of her voice, to be honest. And I mean, I really loved it to hear a song in Maltese. Well, it's not in Maltese; it's partly in Maltese, and it's really nice that there's a song that's partly in Maltese this year. I don't think that she is that great live. I mean, if you go on YouTube, she does a version of Music Takes Control. That's definitely not even. It's just not. It's not there. So I've got quite low expectations. And what I'm really worried about is that because Malta traditionally do quite well in this competition, if Malta don't do so well this year, then they're going to blame it on having Maltese in their song, which would be a shame, because it won't have anything to do with that. It's just the fact that she's obviously a great recording artist, but from what I've seen, at least on YouTube clips, she's not that great live, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Aline, is this one of your favorites?
Yes, it is. It's another good song from Malta, and I think we are right to call them the Sweden of Junior Eurovision, because yes, I have like the same kind of. I start to kind of have the same kind of love for Malta in Junior Eurovision as I have for Sweden in the adult Eurovision. It might not be the most original song of the year, but I love the message about it, because it's about the youth that should believe in who they are, and you shouldn't let tell what you should do or who you should be. And I think this is a very common and very very like this is a message that is very useful these days, because these days we do nothing more but compare each other with each other, and it makes us super insecure, and we think about life in a very sad way, and the youth shouldn't do that. And I think this song is kind of like a message that says like, you should have fun and not think about like, you should not see on Facebook, like on Facebook we want all to show ourselves in the best way possible, but that's not the truth. That's not the real person behind the Facebook page. So yeah, I think this is a really good message, and we can learn from it.
Yes, that was great to get that in, because I haven't actually like fully studied the lyrics, but I think it is a great point, and I think in a show like this, it is definitely a place where you can send out a very positive message to a bunch of kids watching all over Europe. Ben, do you think that Malta is a contender to win once more, because they have been pretty strong over the last couple of years?
And Malta's also surprised quite a lot in securing lots of jury points in particular. Very briefly, I actually think jury points, in a sense, mean this is more of a jury contest than an online vote contest, because usually the online vote is more squished, whereas the jury votes are more spread out. So it's probably more than 50% swayed towards the jury. It's the range of points. And if we get a beat, again, if you put a big vocal, maybe you change the melody and go up a few thirds and show off a vocal range, there's a potential here in this song for that. But it would crave artistry for that. I think the message here, while nice and appropriate, is a little bit too simple to carry it for the entire 3 minutes. I actually know one of the songwriters very well, and I won't be afraid to say that this needs more oomph. This needs more power in the production. It's Swedish in its writing, You may recognize the more Melfest artist in the songwriters list here. It does sound like something that has come down the pile of Melfest entries somewhere near the bottom and has been recycled elsewhere, as what happens to many Melfest songs. It doesn't have anything of originality, which is a shame, because Malta in particular has shown off original Maltese music, both language and the music itself, in the Junior Eurovision over recent years. So for the entire Malta music scene, it's a shame for Junior Eurovision. It's a shame that the actual Eurovision Song Contest has gone down that way as well, because the Maltese methods can get results their own way. And I don't feel they get anything better by sending something like this.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and agree with Ben there, because I do think the song needs a bit more oomph. Because the thing is, like, everything that it takes to, you know, get something good out there, I do feel like it has. It just needs that whole thing to become memorable. And that's the thing. And I feel like it's hard to, you know, it's one of the things that's hard to really discuss. And I think we've even talked about this kind of thing on ESC Fan TV back when we did the shows gearing up to Tel Aviv, is that we as fans, we listen to these songs right from when they're released up until the song. And there can sometimes be like a long period between there where we form our opinions on this song. Now, the average viewer, which is most of what there is, most of the people voting are going to be the average viewers who are only tuning into the show. They've only heard these songs once. And that means that a song needs to have something in it to stand out before people remember it. Because if you don't remember it, you're not going to vote for it. And I feel like that's what Malta's missing. Because it's not a bad song, but it's, you know, when I was listening to, because the Junior Eurovision YouTube page have uploaded the official recap today. When I listened to that recap, when the Maltese song came on, I was like, wait, which song is? Oh, yeah, it's Malta. Because while I liked the song on the first listen, I simply had forgotten about it. And it's a shame because, yes, it is a cool thing that there is a bit of Maltese in it. But, I mean, we saw Maltese in Tauraton, and that was a completely different song. That was really fun, and it did well with, I don't think it did so well with the juries, but it did very well with the online voting because it was a fun song. And it's one of those kind of songs where if you have 3 to 5 songs that you're going to vote for, this is a song that's kind of like, yeah, I may as well throw that into the mix. This song isn't. And that's just, it doesn't have enough to stand on its own, I feel like. So, but I do wish Malta good luck anyway. They are one of the great countries really keeping the Junior Eurovision spirit alive. So it's nice to always see them. Let us go to the final song that we have to talk about this evening. We are going to the song that was actually, I believe, the last one to be released. We are going to North Macedonia. North Macedonia have been in Junior Eurovision for a few years at this point. I believe they are one of the countries that have only missed out on very few contests. They've almost been here for every single one. They were also one of the countries that participated way back at the first contest in 2003. North Macedonia this year is sending Mila Moskov with the song Fire. This is also very much one of these like Eurovision pop songs. Another one of those I could see at the adult Eurovision. Aline, what do you think of North Macedonia?
Another great song from North Macedonia. They have been, I've watched Junior Eurovision since the very beginning. So, and I've had North Macedonia in my top 10 for quite a lot of times, but they never did as well as I wanted them to do. So, and this year again, they're in my top 10. They're like my 8th place or something. And I hope this will finally change and give Macedonia the result they deserve, finally.
Let's hope that. They have been a fan favorite, I remember, for many years. And obviously, you know, we saw them going completely bonkers this year at Eurovision, getting such a great score from the jury vote that I don't think anyone expected. North Macedonia are on a serious roll at the moment. Ben, do you think that this could be the song where they finally get that top 3 placing at Junior Eurovision?
Top 3 is a big stretch. It's a big stretch top 3. Great song. Excellent production values to this. Both video and musically. This has oomph, doesn't it? This has power behind it. You wanted to be that chorus behind Mila, really making this strong. Throughout the 3 minutes, I don't feel there's enough growth. I kind of see Eurovision songs as, and the difference between Eurovision songs and the rest of world music is the way that the character kind of grows through the 3 minutes. And I've not felt that with this. You have your verse and your chorus that are strong, and I feel it kind of stays at that level of power and character from that point on. But you know what? That's when what happens on the stage is key to this. I think this is nice. And actually, the voting system here, voting to 3 to 5, I could make arguments why this could be something you add on to your voting list. It's lovely. I really appreciate it. I don't have it in the winners list.
Fair enough. Tristan, does the song do it for you?
I love it. First of all, it's my 7th favourite, and I think it will probably end up around about there. I've got it just above France. I mean, obviously, it's quite a hard thing because I think it's a slightly better song than the French song, but the French song is much more Junior Eurovision friendly than the North Macedonian song, which North Macedonian song could be for the adult Eurovision. I know that we keep harping back and talking about this, but I do prefer it when songs in the Junior Eurovision are a little bit more feel that somehow the singer has got some kind of involvement or attachment to it. I know that it's a moot point. I love the song. It's beautifully put together, and it should do really well. But there again, I thought that last year, Maria Spasovska, I can't remember her name. That was that beautiful ballad last year. That fantastic song, and it came, I think, 12th, which was ridiculous. I mean, it should have not necessarily won, but definitely been in the top 3, and it came 12th. So who knows if Maria Spasovska can't win or can't do well, then who knows how this song will do. But hopefully, this is North Macedonia's year. They're doing well, and she'll get some encouragement from the fact that it's a brand new not a brand new country, but a brand new identity, and also the results that the adult Eurovision had.
Yes, I do just want to quickly apologize to the viewers watching the show. My eye is watering, so that's why. It's not because I'm crying. I just want to say that. It's just, things happen. It's, when you're alive, it's always like, sometimes things can just happen. I'm sure I'll sort myself out. But it sets a mood, doesn't it? It's good that we're nearing the end of the show. Maybe that's why. I'm feeling a little sad. It's almost over. No, I will say North Macedonia. This is one of the songs that upon the first listen, I was like, this is really, really good. This is, really well put together. And North Macedonia have really surprised me, both in Junior Eurovision and in adult Eurovision the past couple of years, because they are really putting forward some well-produced, well-thought-out songs. We can always argue how they're doing with the staging. There's always a thing to be said there, both in junior and in adult. But this song has a lot of potential, and Mila does seem like a great performer. I followed her on Instagram, and she seems, to be very, very happy to be representing her country, and really, like she sings in the song, music is her passion, and I think that shines through in her singing. So I think it could do well. But I think, like we've already talked about with all the online voting, I think this is one of the countries that may struggle a bit in that sense, just because it is a country that doesn't have a lot of friends and it doesn't have a lot of native voters. I don't think there are that many people watching the show in North Macedonia, but I do hope this song can do well, because I think it's a well-produced song, and I could see this, this being sung by an older, more experienced performer. I could easily hear this on the radio, because it is it is such a radio friendly pop song. I think that's what North Macedonia is doing well these days. So it's interesting to see how this will end up, because I think when they sent, like in 2016, when they sent Love Will Lead Our Way, that song was very much a fan favorite, and it had everything it took to be in top 5, and yet it somehow just didn't score as great as everyone thought it would. And that's a bit of a shame, because I think, as well as in adult Eurovision, where we've talked about how North Macedonia is robbed, I think in junior they are sending so many cool songs that deserves more recognition from the voters, because I think from the fans it definitely does have it. Well, there we go. Those were all the songs that we were going to be discussing today. We keep these shows, for those who are new, we keep these shows around 1 hour, and we do want to have some songs for next time, because of course we are getting closer and closer to the week in Gliwice, but we do want to have some shows leading up as well, so we don't just run out of topics. That being said, what are we going to be talking about next time? Now, hopefully Elliot will be back next time and will be able to host, but we do have a few countries left that we haven't talked about. Georgia is one of them, and Belarus, that's right, we haven't talked about that. And there's of course also been some songs revamped since we talked about them on the show first time. So we are going to be discussing, of course, Ukraine and Wales, who have seen significant revamps to their songs. Next time, I would also like to show off what the panel actually thinks of these songs in the style that we will do our voting, who is our winner. So to everyone watching, if you do plan on watching next time, we would love to have your top 10s for this year's show. If you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, on Facebook, it is just ESC Fan TV everywhere. You will be able to send in your top 10s, and maybe we will actually feature them on the show next time. Remember, of course, if you are just tuning in, or you only tuned in halfway through the show and want to watch the whole thing, this show is available on demand after we've streamed. If you are one of those busy people who would like to listen to ESC Fan TV on the go, you can do that as well. We are on iTunes, we are on Spotify, we are on Stitcher, we are on all your favorite podcasting platforms. I forgot to mention all this in the beginning of the show, so I hope Stuart won't kill me for that. It is important to follow us. It's the way that we grow this brand, and we, of course, hope to see many of you back for the next show, and we hope to see many of you engaging in the exciting content, all the exciting content we will be doing in Gliwice. Now, thank you for watching the show today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to Tristan for being on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Aline.
Yes, I was glad to be here again.
Yes, it is always fun to have you on. And thank you to Ben. I hope we see you here again.
Yes, I hope so. I'm actually going to be in Georgia next week, and I will be seeing the broadcaster over there. So hopefully, if I can report live or later on, I'll give you some news from on the ground.
That sounds very interesting. We would definitely love to hear more about that. But for now, I think that is all we have for this week's ESC Fan TV. Thank you, good night, and have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye.